Well, you'll
I
figure
think
it
that's
out.
what it is because I remember saying to Matt, I was like, "Oh, you can dress up as Daisy and Luigi," and he goes, "No, we can't because Daisy is Luigi's love interest." And I was like, "Oh, that would be weird."
I think this is gonna be a fun movie. I laughed a bunch of
Okay.
times. Did, did, did you like the trailer?
I love how you just went by that rambling. So you're like pivoting here, taking this road to the left. Thank
Well,
you so
reeling the
much.
tangent back in
You
to
didn't give
Sonic.
me anything with that. No laughs, no comments. It was just you sitting here silently listening to me talk like a person in a nursing home.
What do you mean no comments? I was talking about Matt as Luigi. I was
Just
talking.
gave me nothing.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdy and Nice. We're here to talk to you about all the things that we love in movies, TV, and pop culture outside of Star Wars. We have the Resistance broadcast for that. If you are a Star Wars fan, if you like the Resistance broadcast, this Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. East, we are debuting our new show, Galactic Goonies, which will be all about the Star Wars show Skeleton Crew. So check in with us and have some fun. But we're here to talk about all the other stuff that we love. I'm John. Lacey's here, of course. Lacey,
Hello.
how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. You know, it's a lot once you have kids, which you know. That it's just like you gotta get everybody in the car. You gotta, if you're in charge of something, which I was in charge of pies. So I made multiple pies. I made an apple pie, a pumpkin pie, and a key lime pie. Then you got to make sure you have everything according to that. Like my dad's lactose intolerant, so I had to make sure I had the specific whipped cream that he can have, plus our whipped cream, plus all their toys, diapers, and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
else. Not for my dad, for my children. Um, but it's like a whole thing. Of course, it's a beautiful day with family and friends, and the food is just so good. Thanksgiving is my favorite meal, but it's a lot. I have done all my Christmas shopping already, so I didn't have to stress about that. Like
Wow.
I've been done for months. Months I've been done with my Christmas shopping. Um, I would say like people joke around like, "Oh, blah 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 is my Super Bowl." Christmas is my Super Bowl. Between decorating and gift giving, it is like my time to shine. I find the perfect gift for people. I found John's gift in May, and I've had it this entire time.
What is it?
I can't tell you. I haven't given it to you yet.
I mean, you can tell me if you want.
No, I'm not going to do that.
All right.
I'm not going to spoil the fun.
Can you
I
tell me?
was thinking, though, that we should do a Secret Santa with the Patreon community, but we'll see. We haven't talked about that off air. I just keep thinking about it while we're recording episodes.
We have other boxes to check, and then
Yes, we definitely do. We have lot of boxes.
a lot of boxes. Yeah, we just went about an hour away to Kathleen's cousins, and it was like her extended family's side of things, so that was nice. And just having the long weekend, so it was
We went
good.
about an hour too. We probably went an hour in different directions.
Yeah, we went pretty much east.
Oh, east. I went south.
Oh.
Southwest.
There you go. But what I do want to hear from you is, we usually do the trailers at the end, but Squid Game is in super hype mode for us because we're both fans. So what'd you think of the new trailer for Squid Game that came out?
I loved it. I thought it was better than the last trailer.
What'd you take from it that was different from you that maybe escalated your hype?
It filled in a lot of the blanks that people had. Like one of the big things you had asked was, why is he coming back? Like, why would he be there? What is going on? And they set it up with the first part where it's like, hey, welcome back, player 456. And he's in the limo and he goes, why do you want to come back? And he's like, I want to play the game again. Now, obviously, he has motives to shut down the game, which makes sense. He doesn't want people to die. And then, like, prime example of you go in with great intentions and you're going to tell everybody, like, guys, just listen to me and no one dies. And then you have the few people are like, I don't care. I just want the money. And that's why it plays on that, like, it tugs on that human nature thing. Like, despite doing the best you can for other people, there's always going to be people in there for themselves.
And also the doubt and mistrust. People would be like, oh, this guy's really plotting this, and he's saying this because he wants us to follow him because he wants to
Yeah.
win, and there's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot of that. He's gonna have a target on his back.
I saw the carousel. That was wild. Can't wait to see what that's about. Looks like type of a musical chairs type thing, but we'll see.
Yes, and I just feel like overall the way this is shot, looks like they just beefed up the budget all around.
Because I don't think they expected the first one to be such a big hit.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just it just looks like a richer version of Squid
Oh
Game
my
with
god, the colors
the
are so
same,
vivid.
yeah, with the
Yeah.
same feel though. Like I don't think they've abandoned it too much, so that's good.
And the
Yeah.
acting looks so good too. That's the other thing is like even, Lee Jung-jae is gonna bring it. He's gonna be amazing. But all the side characters that are new people that you see kind of trickling in through the trailer, the bad guys, good guys, whatever, they all look like they're bringing their A game too. Like,
Mhm.
I can't stress this enough. I say it every time. I'm going to say it again. I live and breathe this. Watch this show with the subtitles. Just
I
watch it
agree.
how it's meant to be watched. Don't put the English voices over it. Watch these actors give their performances the way they're intended to be given. You won't miss anything. I promise. I promise you'll still get the same satisfaction of watching it with English language.
And then you could say you read something too if you're not a big reader.
I don't know what it is. I've been watching subtitles for so long that like it doesn't even faze me anymore. Like I read them and then I'm still watching the full screen.
I don't know what this says about me. I often pop subtitles on things that are relatively easy to digest.
I
But
put
I
them on
find
everything.
Yeah, but I find the reason I do it is I don't know when this happened, but anytime I watch something, and I have a ranch, so we all live on the first floor.
Mhm.
Uh, the sound and music is 50 times louder than dialogue in this stuff. So I'm turning the volume
Yeah,
down,
the mixing's not great.
turning it back up, and I'm like, I'll keep it down, but I have to put the subtitles on because I can't hear these people when they
You know
talk in
what you
very
need to
subdued
get?
manners.
Yeah, you know what you need to get? You're supposed to say, "What, Lacey?"
Well, I know it's coming. You don't,
We got this little receiver. It sits under the TV and it connects to your Bluetooth headphones and it broadcasts your TV sound to your Bluetooth headset. So Matt and I will sit there watching Top Gun Maverick with headphones on together, watching our TV.
Now let me ask you this, Parent Gilleran.
Yeah.
Do you concern yourself with not hearing the cries of your children as you're listening to Maverick go supersonic?
No, because I have the monitor right next to me.
So you're checking the monitor.
Yeah. Or I
Mhm.
have one ear off.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Changes
Okay.
the experience.
Squid Game, we're hyped. There are other stories to get into. We're going to cover some other trailers later and talk about what we're watching. Do the Hallmark plot guessing game again. I know some people really love that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
let's get into what's happening.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
It wouldn't be a pop culture show if we did not talk about Wicked. Wicked has been killing it at the box office, and I would say more than that, they're killing it at marketing, press tour, tie-ins, social media. They're everywhere. It's all I see all the time is Wicked stuff on everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It is just taken over and everybody's talking about Wicked and how great it is. Even our patrons who most of the time are more likely talking about Star Wars are talking about Wicked. It's just
Mhm.
you can't get away from it. So the top story today is that Wicked budgets for part 1 and 2 because it's 2 parts, which not many people realize. So in the Broadway play, it's act 1 and act 2 and there's an intermission where you take a break and the actors take a break. That break is where the movie ends. So there's 2 movies. They were shot at the same time. The budget is reportedly 350 million. Wicked Part 1 has grossed close to 200 million at the time of the recording, which is about 5 days into its run. It set the opening week record in November, and it's just had a ton of box office records. It beat Frozen 2
Mhm.
and musicals. It's going on like this could be even bigger by the time this episode comes out. So, John, what are your thoughts on Wicked? Will you see it? I'm dying to see it. I've been listening to the soundtrack nonstop. I want to see it so bad, and no one will go see it with me.
Yeah, I probably won't make it to the theaters for this just because of the time of year and, free time is
Sure.
limited as it is.
Yeah.
So I doubt I'll get to the theater to see it. I'm interested to see this because the more I talk to people who are more versed in all of this, like we were talking to Heather, one of our listeners, and she's
What up,
apparently
girl?
she's a PhD in Osary because she knows all these books and because I had always thought Wizard of Oz was Dorothy whacks her head, she slips into some sort of subconsciousness and has this dream because all these people she meets look like real people in her life.
Yeah. Yeah.
The actual lady who's the antagonist in Kansas, the farmhands who her family's close friends.
Yeah.
So I had always thought at the end she wakes up, she's like, I had this dream, you were in it, you were in it, you were in it. I was like, oh, she had a dream. It was amazing. Cool. Apparently that's not the case.
That is
So-
not the lore. No.
Now I don't know if that's a retcon or whatever, but here we are. It's a real Oz thing. And there's more movies, and James Franco did one people probably try to forget about because he's James Franco now or whatever. But Wicked, like I'm hearing good things about it. I'm not the hugest musical person. I like some. I've only been to one Broadway play.
Which one?
Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, right. Yep.
Music of the Night. Andrew Lloyd Webber. Fantastic. I get the whole culture. I have friends of mine that go all the time. But the movie version, I could be interested in seeing because even people who aren't big musical fans have said the visuals are just outstanding in this. And it'd be cool to, visit Oz again in 2020 decade special effects versus 1930s special effects. And don't get me wrong, The Wizard of Oz for when it came out, unbelievable what they were able to do with that. So I do have interest in it. It looks like it's already probably by the time people are listening to this crossed 300 million. I bet it's a big holiday weekend at the box office, maybe even more worldwide. So that almost covers the whole budget, marketing aside, with the one movie. So then the second one's gravy train. People who saw the first are going to go see the second, so you lock all them in. So that's all these people who saw it early. And then if the buzz from this one continues, that will only build up the second one even more. So I think this is set up for lots of money, lots of merch. I'm sure I don't know if they've made like toys of this. I'm sure they have.
They have. Yep.
Yeah.
If you go into Target, they have a whole section that's Wicked.
The soundtrack with Ariana on it, they're going to make so much money from all corners of entertainment. So this seems to be a massive, massive win. When I remember when we first covered, I think on this show, we covered talking about the first trailer. And I remember being like iffy about what this was going to do because
I openly said, is this a big thing? And I
Yeah.
feel like an idiot now because I get it. I've been listening to soundtrack for a full week now. I get it. I understand. It's awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how big the reach was going to be because I know musical fans are diehards and they'll go see it, but how big is that audience? And then are you pulling in people who have nostalgia for Wizard of Oz or people who are just interested? Does Ariana Grande have pull? So all those questions were in my mind, but they've all been answered and it is a beast. So I'm sure this isn't the end. I'm sure they'll figure out what other stories they can tell because they have unlocked a pretty massive IP if they handle things correctly moving forward.
Yeah, this is my latest hyperfixation before we get into Skeleton Crew in the coming weeks. I have gone on so many a deep dive about Wizard of Oz, about Wicked. I know so much about this movie, this Broadway show, the original book, the movie that was made in 1936, like all these things. From the drama behind the shoes, which most people go, well, the slippers aren't red. Why aren't the slippers red? And what people don't realize, I'm going to get into some of the fun facts I've learned. The slippers in Wicked are silver. They're like diamonds. The slippers, the ruby slippers in the original book were silver. They were diamond-ish. They made them red in the 1930s one because of Technicolor. The type of technology they were using, they wanted them to stand out. So the reason that they're not red is because MGM has the copyright to the red slippers. So they can't use them because they're copyrighted. Other things. The guy from Bridgerton that plays Firio, whatever his name is, in Wicked, in this lore, ends up to be the Scarecrow. The guy that plays Bach, who's Ariana Grande's real life boyfriend with the red hair, plays SpongeBob on Broadway, he ends up being the Tin Man. So like all this stuff is interconnected.
I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but this is a musical that's been out for a while.
I mean, it's been out for 25 years, the musical.
Are these guys normal guys who become these things due to a spell or something?
Yes. Yep.
So wouldn't you think, you're not going to retcon Wizard of Oz, but wouldn't
they kind of did.
Yeah, wouldn't the resolution be that they become humans again and not have, these fake awards given to them by this fake wizard?
That's not where this musical ends. I think the musical takes inspiration from the original film and inspiration from the novels, but it's its own thing, if that makes sense. But I've learned just so much stuff about, like, especially the 1930s one. One of my favorite fun facts is at the moment where it goes from sepia to Technicolor, they had a stand-in for Judy Garland that was painted sepia, and she stands out of the way so that Judy Garland comes in color. So that whole set is painted sepia. It doesn't magically turn to color. And they were so specific about the colors that like they spent weeks deciding what yellow to use on the Yellow Brick Road. And then they put dyes in the water in Munchkin Land to make them really blue. So when you saw the movie, you're like, oh my God, everything's so bright. But then they put ducklings in the water that soaked up all the blue dye and turned them blue. Like stuff like that. I know so much stuff about this now. It's probably, I've lost important information because they say when something comes in, something goes out. So see you later, Star Wars information. But anyway,
so
I'm probably going to see this at some point. I just don't know when I'm going to see it. And I have to find the time to see it. Like you said, I'm hoping that it comes out on digital sooner rather than later. And I don't want that to be a detriment to the success of the movie. It's just like, it's so much easier when you have kids to watch something at night. But I know that people are already watching pirated versions online. So I'm tempted to see what I can find. But at the same time, I don't want to do something illegal either. But people are talking about it.
You know what's crazy? Did you hear that the screen matched ruby slippers are being auctioned right now?
Oh, are they?
Through December 7th. Now, screen matched means it says Michael Shaw's ruby slippers are the cross-matched sister shoes to the pair at the Smithsonian Institution, most likely separated in early spring of 1970. So I don't know if these were like the backups or...
There was a set that was stolen at some point. There's this whole drama around the slippers that they were stolen and someone took them. And then there's this like theme park called the Land of Oz that had something that then it got stolen from there.
Oh, yes. So
I'm telling you, I've looked all I went on such a deep dive about Wizard of Oz, wizard lore. Apparently, it's wild.
So I don't know if they found them and then these are them, but Lacey, I want you to take a guess at how much do you think the current bid is right now for the ruby slippers?
$5 million.
Oh, actually more conservative than your guess.
What is it?
$1.15 million. But it goes through December 7th, so who knows what it's going to go up to.
Yeah, the sister pair, I think, they make multiple pairs for screen, but then they probably didn't get worn, but they were there.
Yeah, it says screen matched. I don't know if that means these could be the ones because they were stolen. I don't know, but people are bidding, and it's
people love the Wizard of Oz. It is a big thing.
Should we bid? Because we're gonna get passed anyway. Should we just say that we bid on them?
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. I don't have that to fill.
TRB puts the bid in for $1.2 million.
That we don't have.
Yeah. No, interesting though. But yeah, good for Wicked. Good for Wicked.
Yeah. Another success to discuss is there's a rumor going around that Marvel Studios is reportedly reportedly planning a sequel to Deadpool and Wolverine. It's coming from Scooper, Daniel Reichtman. Isn't he Daniel RPK or something like that? His Patreon. According to him, we're likely to see the two heroes back in the MCU before this in the team-up movie Avengers Secret Wars. So, would you want to see more of them? Do you think they're going to get their own movie, or do you think this is more just like a, hey, they're going to be a part of something else?
I don't know if this is how I'm going to feel long term. The whole Avengers thing feels like one of those no duh because of all of the things that Deadpool saw on those screens about him with Thor and that sort of thing. Like, we're seeing things that are going to happen. So we're going to see a scene between him and Thor in the Avengers movie. So the whole purpose of him in Deadpool and Wolverine was trying to become an Avenger. So it's obvious Deadpool, especially and on top the real life success of the movie, is going to be in this. The cooler part is that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is going to be a part of this. How is it going to be seeing Wolverine interact with all these characters? That's going to be cool. But we have a finite period of time left with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I don't know if I want all that spent with Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. Like, if he's coming back, I know they're doing X-Men stuff, and I don't know if this, like, his Wolverine's going to be a part of that with now that Marvel has the rights over Fox. But do you know what I mean? Like, we saw it together. I love Deadpool and Wolverine. I would probably go see a sequel, but I hope we get a little bit more of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, not buddied all the time with Deadpool. I
would love to see him with either other X-Men or the Avengers on his own.
Right.
Like, they don't have to be connected all the time.
Yeah, right.
And I think people assume, because of the relationship between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and the marketing and all that stuff and how they're saying they're best friends all the time and how much success it had, that executives are going, oh, okay, so you guys want to see them together all the time. And it's like, not always. I'd like to kind of see them in their own environments. Like, Deadpool wants to be part of the Avengers. Okay, cool. Are we going to see more X-Men? Because I feel like that's something that's been kind of a huge gap lately, is you have Marvel with no X-Men.
Well, that's because Fox owned it. And now that Marvel has it, they're going to start their own version of X-Men after Avengers. So the question is, does this Wolverine die again in Avengers and they introduce a new Wolverine? I don't know what they're going to do, but it's whatever they do with Wolverine, it's going to be really tough shoes to fill.
This might be a bad take, and I get that, but I'm kind of meh on the Avengers right now.
Oh, I don't think. I mean,
like, people are very serious about the Avengers, and I get that. It's just I feel like it's been done to the point that it's like, okay, got it. Can we see something else?
I mean, you're preaching to the choir. You know how I feel about it. I mean, I'm all about the DC train right now. So
yeah, I think I'm on that DC train too. I'm gonna be honest. It just, I don't know. As soon as I see Avengers, I just go, ugh. Like, I have like that feeling. Like, ugh, more Avengers.
And they might be awesome. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing though. Like, everyone lost their brains with Endgame. And I remember being an hour in and like my eyes getting heavy. So I had a different experience with Endgame. I've never been the hugest Marvel person, so I'm not here saying like I should be your source of opinion on it. But I'll go check these movies out. But yeah, I'm not thinking about them the way I think of like a Star Wars movie or something. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I wonder if you'd see these next kind of pairs of movies, which would be Moana 2, which is on track for a monster box office. It's estimated that it's going to make 14 to 14.25 million in Tuesday previews. Or it has. Has it? It has made that. Sorry. I took the headline a little differently than what it actually is. So it's on track to make really big money this weekend. So it seems like it's going to be Wicked up against Moana. So two kind of musicals going off against each other. I have seen very bad reviews of Moana 2.
Oof.
I have seen people say it's terrible, it's lackluster, it's messy, it's rushed. And of course, Lin-Manuel Miranda did not do the songs on this one, which were such a hit on the first one that people are complaining that it just felt like Disney pivoted to rush to get this movie done and get a movie into the movie theater during the holiday season. And I think someone said, quote, "This seems like something that should have been direct to DVD." Now, on the same thing, on the same track as Moana, pictures also leaked this week of the live action Moana, which by the way, both of these star The Rock.
Yeah.
He's in both of them, Dwayne Johnson. The woman that does Moana is not coming back for the live action. Filming has officially it's officially wrapped? I thought it just started.
Wrapped.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I thought it just started. That's what I read online. So I am wrong. It officially wrapped. And it's in theaters July 10th of 2026. Now, looking at these pictures, it doesn't look so great. It looks like The Rock in a fake muscly costume, even though he's not. Those are definitely his muscles, and a grass skirt. What do you think?
I actually do think that's a fake muscle suit on top of his body.
Oh, you think it's a fake one?
Yeah, because if you look at his wrists, they have the cuffs to like hide the blend of the tone and the
Because his
separation.
face is a different color than his chest.
And this is all like someone taking a photo from him from like a mile away.
I know. It's like a telescopic.
The pre-special effects and everything. He looks like I imagined he would look doing live action. Like he looks exactly like how I would imagine The Rock playing Maui. Like if you're not, if you haven't seen the photo yet, before you look it up, like close your eyes and picture the actual Dwayne Johnson dressed up as Maui, maybe a little wider, and that's exactly what he looks like. So it's a lot of Moana. The thing about Moana 2 right now, it's at like 70%, high 60s, low 70s with critics, but audiences have it at like 86.
That's
And
not bad.
the Tuesday return was huge. The projection was that this was going to be the highest Thanksgiving weekend of the post-pandemic era of any movie. It's tracking along where Inside Out 2 tracked, and that made like $1 billion plus. So reviews aside, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who honestly, like, great. He's all right. Like, he's fine. Like, people act like he's John Williams. He makes decent songs. It's making a ton of money. It's gonna be a massive hit, and it was supposed to be a Disney Plus series, which would make $0. So the moves seem to be right in what they're doing, which for us as Star Wars fans might be a benefit with the whole Lando thing. That was supposed to be a series. That's going to be a movie. So big win here for Disney. It's going to help momentum for the live action one, no doubt about it. So it looks like a bounce back for The Rock when he's had some sputters, including the recent Red one. So we'll see. I will definitely check this out. I will not be at the theaters to see Moana 2, but I can easily see me and the family popping it on Disney Plus when it comes out. Because my kids love the first Moana. Just visually, like even when Johnny was little, he was drawn to how clear the water looked and all the greenness of the mountains in Hawaii. It's like a beautiful movie. So we're gonna check it out. Probably not theaters, but it looks like they don't need me because it's making buckets of cash.
Yeah, I'll probably check this out on Disney Plus. I mean, both of them, really. I have no plans to watch either of those in the theater just because if I have to pick what movie to see in the theater, I'd pick a Wicked over Moana 2, which is interesting because I know we had talked about perhaps the Superman trailer playing before something in the movie theater. Mufasa, and we were both like, that doesn't sound right. That's weird. I know someone in the comments from our last episode said that they saw Moana playing before Wicked, which is Universal. So they were like, oh, sometimes there's crossover because if it's a musical person, maybe they'll want to see a musical.
Yeah. Yep.
So that is interesting. All right. Our next and last story for news this week is the Fast and Furious screenwriter Chris Morgan is still developing Deputy X with Glenn Powell. It was originally announced via the Hollywood Reporter in early 2022. But when asked about it recently, Chris Morgan said, quote, "We have a project that we're doing at Universal with Glenn Powell. Will Beal just wrote an awesome draft, and it feels like we're gearing up for a big, fun franchise." John, you know how I feel about Glenn Powell. He can do no wrong in my eyes. This past week, he just actually was, I don't know if you've noticed online, they do all these like look-alike contests now.
Oh, yeah.
It started with the Timothy Chalamet one, and then it's blown up to all these, like now they have every single one. They did a Glenn Powell one in Austin, Texas, and his mom was one of the judges. And Glenn Powell came on screen and congratulated the person that won and gave them a role in his next film.
Oh, that's so cool.
As like a background person or an extra or whatever.
I don't think it's going to be this movie.
Probably not, but it just made me love him even more. Like he's just so in tune with what's going on with his fans and what people are saying about him online. It just makes me laugh. But what are your thoughts?
I think he should be Batman. That's what I think.
I think he is Batman.
You think he's going to be Batman?
I think he will be, because when those rumors started happening about him being Batman, which was months ago, like everybody started following him. James Gunn, the director of the upcoming Batman film, all that stuff. So everyone's kind of thinking he's going to be Batman.
And then the Mission Impossible, like
Mission Impossible stuff,
fake
where he's
denial
like,
on McAfee.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this. So this movie was reported and announced in early 2022.
Yeah.
Before Top Gun Maverick came out, which I think that movie vaulted Glenn Powell into a bigger star status.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I take that info, I'm adding almost 3 years to the calendar, and it's still in development. Feels very cast aside Star Wars project to me. And then I look at Chris Morgan's resume, and it's like, yeah, he wrote a lot of those Fast and the Furious movies. I don't like them. And then he produced that bad Tom Cruise Mummy movie. Like he produced the only Tom Cruise flop ever. But
he did do Tokyo Drift, so I will give him that.
But he also wrote Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which is the what's his name movie, that superhero thing that like really almost derailed.
I know
DC. Zachary Levi.
That ruined his
Levi,
career.
whatever the hell his name
that
is.
And the Purple Crayon destroyed Zach Levi.
Yeah. So I have a feeling this movie's not going to happen. That's what I think. because think about it. If he's possibly doing Mission Impossible, he's turning down stuff like Jurassic World.
I was going to say you turned that down, yeah.
They have a date, he said, for Top Gun 3.
Yeah.
We want him to be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Which Batman is apparently not close, because James Gunn's very honest, and he said, we don't greenlight things till we have a script. We're still working on it, so that's maybe a couple years away. But all these things he's doing, like this feels like, I hate to say it, it is currently below the Glenn Powell Mason Dixon line,
I think Glenn said, come back to me with a good script and maybe I'll consider it. So this guy's going, I got a good script. We got a good script.
I mean, yeah, he's saying we have a project called Deputy X and we're doing it at Universal with Glenn Powell. Will Beal just wrote an awesome draft. Almost 3 years later. And it feels like we're gearing up for a big fun franchise. So the 3 years to get a movie going. I don't know. Let me just quickly, before we move on, look up this Will Beal guy and see what else he's written.
That name does look familiar. Will Beal. I'm trying to place it.
Okay, so very interesting. He co-wrote Aquaman, which made a lot of money. He co-wrote he wrote the story for Zack Snyder's Justice League, like the better version. He did Bad Boys Ride or Die and the new Beverly Hills Cop, which I thought was pretty fun. And he's done some TV stuff. So big franchise guy, but I don't know. I got to hear more about this to think if that's going to happen. But I just thought it was interesting, and that's why I put it on the news, because this story comes out and it's Glenn Powell, so people are like, "Oh, it's going to be something big." But again, this was revealed before Top Gun came out, and I think that changed his whole trajectory. Plus, they're dragging their feet with a script. It just sounds like it's not going to work out.
I'm telling you, I think it's Glenn Powell said, "Come back to me with a good script." I care about the story. And this guy's like, I got a script. And he's like letting everybody know so that Glenn knows he's got a good script.
Do your buzzer because it's Deputy X, Deputy. All
Show me
right.
potato salad. But let's get into the stuff that has been made that is happening with some trailers.
Oh God, I love that movie.
Trailer time it is, Lacey, and we have 3 to talk about. 2 animated, 2 heavy franchise based in the movie side of things, and 1 a thing that never dies apparently, which is Dexter. So we're kicking things off with Dexter Original Sin, a prequel story of how Dexter started killing bad guys for a hobby, an obsession. Comes out December 13th, so we're only a couple of weeks away. Paramount Plus and Showtime. So partnership there for distribution. Starring Patrick Gibson as Dexter Morgan, but Michael C. Hall will be still playing the inner monologue, like the narrator. So that's how he stays connected.
What a great job, right? You just record your lines and you leave.
I know. I do like that guy. He also cancer survivor. He was filming season like 4 or 5 of Dexter wearing a wig because he was going through chemo.
Wow.
But also we have Sarah Michelle Gellar. We have Christian Slater, who's playing Harry, his father. Patrick Dempsey's in this. Christina Milian is playing the woman who ends up becoming the chief of police. It's look, I've watched Dexter, so I just want to get your thoughts first as more of a maybe objective view on this. What did you think of this trailer?
I watched this trailer not being interested because I was never into Dexter. Matt was really into it. I remember one year for Christmas, I bought him this wooden box that you opened it up and it had the little slides that he had kept, and the slides were coasters. So like you took them out and they had like little blood splatters in them because
cool.
That's how he keeps his little mementos.
Yeah, behind his AC.
That's what I know of the show basically, and that he uses a lot of plastic. So I've made the joke before, like, oh, I have plastic all over my house like Dexter. Like that's the joke I make.
Yeah,
which is stupid to make because 1, it's inappropriate, but 2, I haven't seen the show enough to make that joke. That being said, this trailer does look interesting. It has really good people in it. Patrick Dempsey really caught me off guard because I know him from a lot of different things, but mostly Grey's Anatomy. So to see him as like a police chief, I was like, what is this guy? And he's like rocking a mustache. The other big shocking thing, to no surprise, is Sarah Michelle Gellar, because when she chooses something, you know it's got to be good because she does like nothing now. She cherry picks stuff. Like she was doing the show with Robin Williams for a while. She does like guest star stuff, and they have her as a guest star on this as well. But man, does she look good. It's like she didn't age a day. Like she looks just like Buffy days. It's insane. Good for her. I like Christina Milian. She does a lot of the Netflix stuff now, like Netflix rom-coms, especially around the holiday time. But I always liked her. I thought she was great. I would probably watch a couple episodes of this just as like, hey, let's see what it's about. The problem is I'm not really into the gory stuff, and I know it gets a little dicey, if you will.
A lot of blood splatter.
So what do you think? Because you've watched it, right?
Yeah, I was a big fan of Dexter. It ended terribly, and then they brought it back for a reboot, one-off series, which introduced his son as a teenager, and I thought that was really good. That came out during the pandemic, I think. And then I thought that was it. I thought that like the way they ended that, I was like, oh, that's the end of Dexter. But the beginning of this trailer makes it seem like Dexter survives that. So I also didn't. I believe we also heard that they're making another Dexter series with him.
I think they are
separate from this. So they're showing us that he survives that, and now they're doing this prequel as well. Here's my problem with this trailer: is it was so weird seeing all the characters that Dexter worked with in the original series with seemingly younger versions of the characters. And we've seen that with Star Wars a lot, but when it's every character,
it is,
and they're all different people, it's just kind of like a alternate dimension, like a different, like almost like when Marvel does the other timelines and you get the other Spider-Man.
I don't think the main guy looks like him. I think that was the drawing thing for me too, is like he's trying to do the same mannerisms, which I understand, but he doesn't look like a younger version of him.
That's what's tricky too, because the show will be make or break based on this guy. And I haven't seen him in anything. He doesn't have any like big credentials. I say big like he's not a star. I'm not trying to downplay like his career. He's been in TV and movies. That's awesome. But a lot of short films and stuff like that. So, and they probably wanted to get an unknown. So when you look at them, it's, you're seeing this young Dexter. But I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet, unfortunately. Like the trailer didn't do it enough for me, and I don't know how necessary this is because in Dexter we get such an in-depth flashback of him as a child. They even have younger actors in Dexter, and they have him playing himself younger. That this feels like a grab to me, and
like a money grab. You're
it
saying?
feels like a money grab.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in seeing if they tell stories of Dexter after we thought he died in the remakes. So I'm not in on this. I'm gonna try it because I'm a Dexter fan. I'm not excited about it, and I'm not going in with remotely high hopes, and maybe that helps me out. But trailer wasn't strong enough for me. And like I said, watch the original Dexter, and you get all you need for a backstory on who he is, where he came from when he was a baby to a teenager to doing the blood splatter analysis. So I need to be sold by the show itself. The trailer didn't do it. It actually made me feel worse about the idea.
Oof.
So we'll see. But onward we go to Lilo and Stitch. This is a short one, a teaser. Disney continuing the live action stuff. Looks like it works financially. Chris Sanders back as the voice, and this comes out May 23rd in theaters. Lacey, are you a fan of Lilo and Stitch? Did you like the original and all that?
That was after my time. I feel like this came out when I was much older, like too old for it. It was on the later half of Disney animation. But I do have to give credit that Stitch looks exactly like the animated Stitch. We were talking about How to Train Your Dragon last week, where it's a carbon copy of the animated version, just like more realistic. This thing, they spent big budget on Stitch. He looks great.
Like that Sonic money.
Yeah. He doesn't look weird. It looks like he just jumped right out of the film into real life, which is what they were going for. I'd probably watch this with my kids. It looks like something that Daisy would love. But am I pumped for this movie? No. I am excited that they brought back the original voice, Chris Sanders, because I love when voice actors get to do the actual work.
Yeah.
Nothing made me more upset than the Mario movie where they didn't get the guy that does Mario. They got Chris Pratt. Like, it just seemed weird. So I'm happy for Chris Sanders. I'm always happy for voice actors getting work and getting the, credit where credit is due, because he created this whole voice for this character that's lived on. I'm not a fan how Disney makes all their merchandise Lilo and Stitch. I don't know if you noticed that. Everything that Disney puts out during the holidays or anything is like always Stitch. And I'm like, are there that many Stitch fans that I'm unaware of? But yeah, it looks cute.
It does. I laughed at him smashing the Cinderella's castle, sandcastle.
Yeah.
It's like if you ever had a puppy you're training or a toddler who's just out of control. And I could see myself taking my kids to go see this in the theater, though.
They're gonna love it.
Yeah. So
that's what it's made for. Their little laughs.
Yeah, I'm case by case with the live action Disney stuff. But like you said, all they needed to do was nail Stitch, and it looks like they have.
Yeah.
Agreed on the voice actor. I think you need that. It's a very unique sound. So they did everything the right way, which Disney is usually pretty good at doing. So we know what we're going to get from this. We know exactly what we're going to get. It's a safe pick to go see it. It's not a gamble. It's not a risk. Like we were just talking. I'm talking about.
It's going to make a ton of money. It's
ton
of
money.
A ton of money.
Yeah. Right around the start of summer and all that. So I think this is a perfect teaser. I think it's great. It's enough. They know that we know what it is.
Yeah.
They don't need to sell people on this. They just need to show a Stitch, show that they're able to bring him in a 3D environment like that. And that's it. So away we go.
And it makes the joke to parents that it's Cinderella's castle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
And he
kids
just
aren't going to recognize what that is, but the parents do.
smashes the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And then we got a true juggernaut of a franchise now. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out. The script from heaven, written in gold ink, came to Jim Carrey and got him out of retirement. You ever see that clip of him on Instagram talking about this?
No.
How after like a couple of years ago, he's like, I think I'm retired. And he's doing a junket. And she's like, you serious? He goes, I'm fairly serious. He goes, I've had enough. I've done enough. You know how like existential Jim Carrey is now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's like, that's it? No, nothing? He's like, well, maybe if the angels sent a script down written in gold ink and I felt that people needed to see it, then maybe, but I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at. And then
The
like
golden ink is Dr. Robotnik.
and then like 3 months later, they're like, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is coming. Jim Carrey's back as Dr. Robotnik. And it's like,
2 of them.
this movie must be written in gold. So I thought this trailer rocked though. I gotta go. I haven't seen any of the Sonic movies. Johnny likes Sonic, but he hasn't even seen the movies yet. He just likes videos he sees of Sonic and all that. And I have the emulator. We play the old Genesis game. This looks awesome. Like the effects and the animation. And they got Keanu now to play Shadow. Idris Elba plays Knuckles. I think this is it's amazing, like what's going on with these old video game IPs, like Mario. You were just talking about that; it made $1 gazillion.
It did.
even though
They
they
have a
didn't have
land
the It's-a-me
now.
guy. And Sonic, just once they fix
See-
that dumb original design, once they fix that,
Human teeth. Yeah.
we were talking about going from a complete misfire, ending James Marsden's career type of thing. Ben Schwartz, never hear from him again. They fix it, and now it's a freaking juggernaut franchise.
Yeah, I was gonna. What was I just thinking of? Oh, the Mario thing. The thing that annoys me about the Mario thing, outside of the voice, is that they did do that voice for other countries.
Oh, really?
So the Italian version, the French version, the Brazil version, Japanese version, they all have the "It's a me, Mario," and then the US version doesn't. It's Chris Pratt. So that's why I'm like, you couldn't get the one guy for the. Anyway,
Here's the thing.
I digress.
It might have been too much. I don't know. Like 90 minutes. Like Mario's supposed to be the protagonist, and they're telling a story. It's one thing.
Ah.
Yeah, it's one thing in a video game, or if you're playing Mario Golf and you're taunting people with the things, and he's jumping around in the video games. But in a movie, he's got to do all this dialogue. I think I'd be annoyed if it was like, "What's the matter with you?" Like, you know.
Who do you play when you play that game?
Which game?
Like Mario Party, Mario Kart.
Mario Golf and Mario Kart. I usually go with the big boys. I usually
No. One character. What's your number one character?
do Kong.
You're a DK guy? Nice. It's always interesting to hear who people choose. I always go Toad.
Because you want the fastest car.
No, I just like Toad.
Oh. All right.
Okay. I just like Toad.
I like the big bruisers, because then you can like people knock into you and they crash. Like that.
you hit me and I go flying.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
Toad's tiny. But no, when my sisters and I, it's such like a core memory for me playing Mario Kart on an N64. I am so good at N64 Mario Kart. I will challenge any human being on this planet and I will beat you. I guarantee it. I promise you.
So you do the drifting and all that?
Yeah, kind of. So
Oh.
my older sister always played Yoshi, and then Kelly was always Wario. She called him BFPP, Big Fat Purple Pants. And then I was always Toad. So I always like to ask people who their character is, because everybody has like a specific character they were going to be. Matt's is Luigi. He's always Luigi. You don't think that's an interesting question to ask people? I think
No,
it's
I do. I was
such
just
an
thinking,
interesting
like,
question.
I was just thinking like Matt is Luigi. I'm like, all right.
Why? Because he's tall and thin like Luigi?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that.
that's probably
He just
why.
needs what does he have? Doesn't he have a mustache or something? Just
He
needs that.
was Luigi at some point. One of the Halloweens he was Luigi, I feel like. You know what's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
The only reason he allowed me to call my daughter Daisy is because Daisy's in Mario. So
Yeah.
eventually she's going to be Princess Daisy and he'll be Luigi. Although I think they're married. I think Daisy is Luigi's love interest.
I thought it was Mario.
Mario's is Peach.
I thought Daisy was Peach.
Daisy is Peach's sister, I think. Or cousin or friend, something.
I thought they just changed her name.
No. Peach is Peach, the blonde, and then Daisy is the brunette. Princess Daisy.
Well, you'll figure
I think
it
that's
out.
what it is, because I remember saying to Matt, I was like, "Oh, you can dress up as Daisy and Luigi," and he goes, "No, we can't because Daisy is Luigi's love interest." And I was like, "Oh, that would be weird."
I think this is going to be a fun movie. I laughed a bunch of
Okay.
times. Did you like the trailer?
I love how you just went by that rambling. So you were like pivoting here, taking this road to the left. Thank you so
reeling
much.
the tangent back in.
You
to
didn't give
Sonic.
me anything with that. No laughs, no comments. It was just you sitting here silently listening to me talk like a person in a nursing home.
What do you mean no comments? I was talking about Matt as Luigi.
Just gave me nothing.
Did you want us like a Meryl Streep? Yes, yes, yeah.
I just thought you would have at least talked about it with me. You were like, "What do you mean character?" I was like, "Isn't it interesting?" You're like, "I don't know.
Well, I know you don't want to stay
Anyway.
up too late tonight either. So that's another part of the equation.
Give me something. Jesus. All right. Sonic looks fine. I think the funniest part for me. The funniest part for me was when they jump through the ring and he's telling the guy, he's like, "You need to come with us right now. We have this important mission." And then he's like, "Knuckles, please." And Knuckles turns around. He's like, "Oh, sorry."
Right.
Like that's my humor. Like that's
Yeah.
the type of humor I have. It looks fine. I haven't seen the other one, so I just feel kind of out of it.
But yeah, I mean, just adding Keanu to it, and you have everything else there, and that was already a success. I think this is they're gonna kill it with this one, and they're doing like a Knuckles spinoff. It's like Idris Elba's not gonna be Bond, but he has an IP right here. Like this stuff, and this is again like what I was talking about. Like the international audiences just eat this stuff up. Like anything video game based, it's gonna make a ton of money. So I like this. I think it's gonna do really well. I can't believe it's already coming out December 20th. December 20th in theaters, Christmas time. People are gonna bring their kids to this during the holiday break. This is gonna make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good trailer though. I think the visual effects are just top shelf. I think they look so good. But that is it for trailer time. So let us hop into talking about what we're watching.
We can never leave the house, and we'd just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
I'm still can't believe
What were you looking for?
I can't believe you gave me nothing with that story.
On what?
There was no banter, no nothing. Just straight faced looking at me like I'm a weirdo.
First of all, I clearly don't understand
All right. What are you watching? Go ahead.
all these characters. Like I thought
Clearly
Daisy was Peach.
Clearly not. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going ahead until you get the satisfaction you were looking for on whatever that was.
I'm never gonna get it. You can't go back in time.
Was it the impression that you wanted more?
John, it ends with us right now. See what I'm doing there?
Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
Go ahead.
So I watched 2/3 of Who Killed John Benet Ramsey, and I still don't know who did it.
I don't think they know. Do they know?
They, like when these documentaries come out, it's everyone shoots out their theories and stuff, and there's rumors about there's more DNA testing they're able to do now that they weren't able to back then. I think they could find out, but I don't know that we know. It is interesting because it hasn't been solved, and it seems like something they should be very solvable. So that's the part where I'm like, what is missing here? Because if they have DNA, they have the crime scene, it's in the home, in the basement. Like, how have they not? They figured out way crazier murders than this.
I remember very vividly remembering when this was happening when I was little
Hmm.
because she was everywhere on every magazine, every newspaper,
Every
every
single
TV.
one.
And I remember when I was little, I thought like, wow, she is so pretty because they had her like all the makeup, everything. And then they had like a TV movie about it or like a reenactment of it,
Oh,
and
that's a
they
bad one.
had what?
That's I'm annoyed that they even did that.
Yeah, and this scene in particular really bothered me, and I forget when I watched it. It might have been like high school or something. It was when I was definitely younger, and it was the scene where the father finds her body in the basement, and he picks her up, and he's sobbing and crying and carrying on, being like, "Please help me," because he moves the body, which you're not supposed to do. And he
Right,
picks her
crime
up
scene.
and brings
Yeah.
her upstairs. But they clearly used like a fake kid body for
Ugh,
it.
like Clint
So
Eastwood did
like
it.
right, so it's like a fake doll that he's picking up, and but it was just very jarring for me that I remember being so terrified when I was little because I was like, "This is in her house. This happened in her house. Someone did this to her in her house," and then I was just scared that it could
Mhm.
happen in my house. I think ultimately they assume that the son did it,
That's
and
one of
then
the
the
rumors.
mom covered it up, but now the mom's dead because she died of cancer. So
Yeah.
they, like, haven't really looked into it because 'cause they're like, "Well, she's dead now," so it's like, do we really wanna but it's just weird to me that you're not gonna give this little girl justice.
Yeah. Like, it's I don't wanna get into the nitty-gritty of it, but it's really just absolutely horrible what happened to her. Like, they found taser marks on her body and stuff, and it's just awful, and I
They
was
think it was the brother who was jealous, right?
well, they think that, and he was 9 at the time, and she was 6, but based on what happened to her, a lot of them are saying it's impossible for a little kid to have done what happened. So,
Oh.
I think there was another older brother or something, like, has the same name as the dad, like John Ramsey or something like that. I gotta watch the 3rd episode to get cleared up on it, but
Because I haven't seen any headlines saying that they've solved this.
no, they haven't,
Yeah,
and that'll take over
everything.
cable news, all the
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be
Mhm.
everywhere. Um, Nancy Grace will come out of retirement. I don't even know if she's still a thing.
I think she is.
Yeah. But the weirdest thing, my last thought on that was watching with Kathleen, and we realized, oh, she was 6 at the time, and so she was actually a year younger than Kathleen, so she only would have been 34 now. It's just
So she was my little sister's age.
she was born in, like, 90.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when my little sister was born.
Just
So that's why my parents were talking about it all the time then, because Kelly was the same age.
yeah, it's just so horrible. So horrible, and I don't wanna if anyone is into their kids doing that pageant stuff, fine. That stuff I think is so wrong. I I really think that messes kids up.
I think sometimes parents can be crazy stage moms just with anything, like child stars, singing, dancing, anything. But I do think there is parents that do good jobs just getting their kids involved in certain things. Like I plan to put Daisy in dance class in the spring because
That's
she wants to do it.
I hear you. Yeah, my Daisy wants to do gymnastics, all that
Oh, I
stuff,
love that for her. She's
but
so active.
she is.
Mhm.
She is.
She was tumbling and jumping around at the birthday party.
Yeah, I feel like they all were moshing a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. But she was just like doing little like kind of cartwheel type stuff
Oh,
and
she loves to try to do, yeah, all the little things. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see our kids do all that stuff. But I don't know, like those certain genres of things,
Mhm.
like I feel like attract bad people, and I think
Sure,
that is one of them.
sure.
So I would never put my kid through it. I'm not judging anyone else who does. But it's a shame. She still would have been so young. So it's just awful. But I hope they do figure that out. Another darker story. It ends with us, obviously fictional, but I watched that. That was controversial because of the production of the movie, where there was battles between Blake Lively and the director, and he was being too aggressive, and
What's his
his
name? Justin.
Justin, I always forget it. Um, and he plays the lead, Justin Baldoni.
Yeah.
And
He's a
then
Broadway guy, I think. He's pretty well known in Broadway.
yeah, and they do a good job in the movie. The only thing is, I felt like I watched 2 movies, and what I mean by that is the first half felt like a rom com, and the second half felt like darkness, and it didn't like transition. It was just like boom, boom. Like first hour of the movie, I'm not kidding. I'm watching with Kathleen. Every time Blake Lively walks on the screen, she must have had like some sort of rule for like the first half of the movie. She's like, I must look incredible in every shot of this movie, because every time she comes on screen, I literally went, Jesus Christ. Kathleen's like, because she looks like when actors are on the red carpet and they know the camera's on them, so they're always smiling and looking perfect. In that first hour of the movie, she looks that way no matter what she's doing. So it's almost like kind of crazy. And then all the stuff happens, which is, the abuse, and then it really gets dark quick. So I didn't really like it. It was unsettling. I don't think it had payoff. I think
it's a worldwide bestseller, that book.
That's fine, but the movie I don't think is very good. I think they probably did their best. It made a ton of money. Good for them. But I didn't think it was worth all the drama that we heard about and all that. And I don't know that it did a good job of selling the message. I think she did a heinous job of selling the message in PR. We talked about all that.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds stepped in, and supposedly like she had someone re-edit the movie, and
She had her
maybe
own
that's
cut.
where your complaints are.
Yeah.
So the question is her cut the one they went with, or is it his cut? Nobody really knows. Nobody will
knows.
get it.
Yeah. So I recommend people seeing it, just because it's one of those movies like, oh, I gotta see it because everything's gonna happen. But I didn't like it, unfortunately. And then I've been doing a casual Harry Potter rewatch at night when everyone's in bed, and like a night like tonight where I'm recording and I need to unwind my brain, I'll probably pop on one of the movies and watch it till I fall asleep, pick it up the next day. But it's the Harry Potter season. Like, this is Harry Potter season. So I'm getting ready for Skeleton Crew, kids going on an adventure, doing great things. So been doing that. But now I will ask you what you have been watching.
So I watched Frozen again for the 500th billionth time.
Right.
Daisy watched Ratatouille for the first time this past week, and she really enjoyed it, which I was never really very into Ratatouille, but she really, really liked it. She goes, "Can we watch the rats?" She really liked it. I also finally finished Only Murders in the Building, which Matt and I didn't know we were sitting like 10 minutes into the last episode. We had no idea. So we had just been like thinking like, oh, don't we have to finish that? And like we had already started it. I thought it was fine. I still think the strongest season is season 1. I think it was just so good. This season felt like Steve Martin's season. And then season 3 felt like Martin Short's season, and season 2 felt like Selena Gomez's season. So I'm interested to see, now that they've announced they're doing another season, and then it ends in such kind of a cliffhanger way, where they go from here. But it just felt like it was too disjointed with all the cameos. There were too many subplots. It was just a lot. I thought Jane Lynch was amazing in this season. I hope she gets nominated for something, because she was really, really good. The killer was predictable. I guessed it pretty early on. The detail of how he got across the building, though, I did not think of. And I was like, oh, that's clever. But yeah, it was fine. I'll probably watch the season again next time, but let's get to the good stuff, which everybody's been bringing up lately, which is the Hallmark Christmas movie guessing game.
All right.
So at the time we are recording, we are going to be guessing movies from 11/22 to 11/24. So Thanksgiving has not happened yet, even though we hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Just a little behind the scenes. Oh, John's got his hat on. But they have not happened yet. So I watched the first one of the set. I was able to make it to the first one. It was Daisy's birthday this weekend, so naturally I didn't have as much time. But I did watch this first one, and it is called Christmas on Call.
Got it.
Okay, what is it?
Female doctor workaholic watches all of her friends in her life getting married, having kids. She's such a workaholic, she hasn't found time to find love. And someone comes in, little Florence Nightingale scenario. She falls in love with the patient. Christmas on Call.
All right. I actually watched this one. It is a female doctor.
Boom.
She works in Philly.
Yep.
And she falls in love with an EMT who comes in to bring someone into the trauma unit. And it's about her and his, like, she's new to Philadelphia. He's born and raised there. You know, he's an Eagles fan, knows everybody around town. He
Ugh.
helps out community service, et cetera, et cetera. The big moment in this movie, which made me, no joke, laugh out loud, is Donna Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's mom, makes a cameo in this movie. She is the woman selling Philly cheesesteaks to the couple when they're on their first date. And he's like, "Hey, Donna." And she's like, "Oh, hey, so-and-so." What's his name? Let me look it up real quick.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I was just trying to be exact. I don't even remember their names. That's how kind of like okay was this movie. Anyway, so she basically is like, "Do you want it with whiz or without whiz?" And the girl's like, "What?" And he's like, "Just give it whiz, please." And like they use all these like words that I guess people in Philadelphia use, but she tried real hard. And she was wearing an Eagles jersey, obviously, because her son was on the Eagles, Jason Kelsey. I guess that's why they had her in this, and they wanted to have that call out moment. The acting was fine. I thought the main characters played by Sarah and Sir Darius, the guy that plays the EMT, they were great. They had great chemistry. They were likable. It was fine. I would give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. It was fine.
On the Hallmark scale.
On the Hallmark scale. Yes.
Yeah, well, whiz means cheese whiz. That's the cheese.
I understand what that means, but nobody says that. Not here anyway. You
Not
just
here.
say with cheese or without cheese.
They may say it over there though.
Maybe. I got to go to Philly. If you're from Philly, please comment below to let me know. All right. Next is a sequel to a previous movie from last year. I've seen the first one. I haven't seen this one. It is Three Wiser Men and a Boy.
I'm gonna do a quick shot on this one because if it's a sequel to something, I'm already set up for failure. So I'm gonna say it's a 3 Men and a Baby, but a Christmas version, but the kid is a boy instead of a girl.
So the first movie is called Three Wise Men and a Baby, and it's someone leaves their baby on their doorstep and they have to take care of it.
Nailed it.
The second movie, Three Wiser Men and a Boy, is the story begins 5 years later with the Brenner brothers preparing for another memorable Christmas. In a crazy turn of events, even possibly brought on accidentally by the brothers themselves, the director of Luke's son's Thomas's school holiday musical steps down. Luke is desperate to make his son's stage dreams come true, so he enlists his brothers, Taylor and Stefan. Meanwhile, the trio navigates meeting their mom Barbara's new boyfriend, and the brothers grapple with their own feelings about this relationship. So it stars Andrew Walker, who's the Mache lookalike, Tyler Hines, who's going to be starring in the upcoming Chief Love Story film, and Paul Campbell. So these three guys are like the Hallmark, like top tier guys, and they get their own film. So yes, it is a spoof of Three Men and a Baby, but this is Three Men and a Boy.
Which they did the sequel to that called Three Men and a Little Lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nailed it. 2 for 2.
And the last one is called To Have and to Holiday.
To have and to hold is a part of a marriage vow, I believe. To have and to holiday. So it involves a wedding on Christmas. And I don't think it's going to be anything too intricate. But what's the conflict? I'm going to guess unapproving in-laws who don't want this marriage to happen. So in order to make sure and force all the families attend, they hold their wedding on Christmas. To have and to holiday.
The plot is, I haven't seen this one, when Celeste gets engaged to Jason after just a few months of dating, her father and the couple's would-be officiant, Pastor Mark, insists on putting them through a pre-wedding boot camp filled with Christmas-themed challenges. As the couple grows stronger through the festive activities, Celeste considers following her dreams in the fashion industry. Meanwhile, Pastor Mark learns to trust his daughter's choices, leading to a heartwarming holiday season for the whole family.
So this is like a worse License to Wed.
Apparently. It just seems like the dad doesn't trust them, and so he's going to give him a hard time.
Yeah, because that in that movie, Robin Williams is a priest, and he puts them through the rigmarole.
Yes. Sounds like it's like that.
Yeah, watch License to Wed instead.
I would love to have Robin Williams as my dad.
Only
not that I don't.
only if he was Mrs. Doubtfire.
I mean, that would
Hello,
hello.
drive-by fruiting.
Anyway, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed those. I'm going to try to catch the Chiefs one for next week. And I can't wait to hear what you think that one's about. Although we've talked about it on the show.
Yeah,
so you
we
probably
can't do
remember
that
what
one.
it
We
is.
know. Yeah, it's garbage.
Well, I'll still tell you how it is. And then we'll talk about the other ones because there's 4 this weekend for Thanksgiving weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think there's a double on Saturday.
I think I'm
Buckle up.
doing okay though. I think I did all right this week. I think I'm like getting close on some of them.
So it depends because you're getting certain aspects, but you're not getting the story right. Like you said, the girl was a doctor. Okay. That could have
Nailed
been that could have been picked up, but you didn't nail it because you didn't get the story right.
The only thing I got wrong was that he was an EMT and not a patient.
That's
Everything
not
else?
true.
Everything else, verbatim.
Well, we'll
All
see what Hallmark brings next.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun stuff. Hope people are enjoying that as we get down to the home stretch on those. But thank you so much, everybody, for listening and watching, getting nerdy with us. Mondays are for the nerds. We know Mondays are tough after a weekend, and they're tough, especially after a long weekend. So we hope this hour plus put a smile on your face and helped you get back into the rhythm of work and school or whatever you got going on. And that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for being with us. Make sure you do follow us on social media at Nerdy and Nice Pod. That includes Blue Sky now, of course. And you're subscribed to the TRB YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TRB Podcast. And Lacey, why don't you tell them about the website and the merch real quick?
Yeah, so if you're interested in some Nerdy and Nice, TRB, or just any cool stuff, head over to trbpodcast.com. That's where we have kind of updates from us, but our store. And today's Cyber Monday, and we have some sales going on today, so definitely check that out. I hope you guys picked up the cool TRB bomber jacket on Friday during Black Friday. But other than that, it's been a lot of work. I'm super pumped about it. Thank you guys so much for your compliments. Yeah, just check it out.
Yes. Yeah, we're really excited about that and more to come. And also, Resistance broadcast, now that Lacey brings that up, we got Galactic Goonies Wednesday, 8:30 live on the YouTube channel, on the TRB podcast feed thereafter. And you want to make sure you're subscribed to both podcasts. They each have their own feed, and we appreciate all the support. Special shout out to the Movie Star Generals and Silver Screen Spice Runners. The Generals: Carmelo, John Risi, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Dani, Mike Rumore, Brennan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Jolton Jedi DiMaggio, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, and Sachi, and the Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shah, Kendall Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the Fortworthian. Thank you all so much. Johnny Hoey for me, Blue Sky, it's the main spot now. And maybe some negativity about sports on X from me. Lacey, how about you?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran. And please message me your picks for Mario Party and Mario Kart. I would like to know.
I've never played Mario Party, just Kart.
What?
But no, I never have. I never understood what it was, honestly.
Oh my God. It's like a board game with
Can
mini
you,
games.
Can you show it to me? Can we play?
Yeah, I will own you, but sure.
That's fine. I've never played.
Get ready.
So happy to play.
Buckle up.
Film some content.
You're going to get owned.
That's fine.
Prepare yourself. I know you don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose. Take your controller and throw it through your window. I'll call my buddy Travis to come fix your window.
And we're so grateful during this holiday season for each other
I just it was so funny. You were going
and
this
friendship.
we're talking about Sonic 3 and you go on this whole rant about Mario, and I'm like, so what'd you think about Sonic? And you go, it was fine. It's Sonic. Sega is just not going
Okay.
to endorse this pod at all. That was really good. Can you do that again?
Okay.
That is pretty good, actually.
I know it's good. I've practiced for a very long time.
I'm going to work on my Wario.
That is my my ringtone when I text my little sister, so she knows it's me.
Nice.
And then she made my mom's the Wario going wah. So anytime my mom texts my
Poor
sister,
mom.
Wario is like dying.
Well, at least it wasn't Bowser. Oh, man.
Oh, typical siblings. We do such messed up stuff.
Usually when my brother calls me, he calls me and then it hangs up. And then I'm like, text, butt dial. And he writes back, yep. We text more than anything. We actually just hung out with them too. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all so much. Follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Spread the word. We appreciate it. We'll see you Star Wars fans Wednesday night. And the rest of you will see you next week right here on Nerdy and Nice, because Monday's for the nerds. See you around, kids.